Hi, my name is Jocelyn. When I first thought about the term Chicana, I assumed it simply meant being a Mexican American woman. However, after watching the videos and the sun readings, I realized that being Chicana is much more complex than we think. A Chicana is a state of mind, an attitude/culture shaped by experiences. It is someone who embraces their Mexican and American identities, someone who understands the history of the Chicano movement and all of the activism towards Chicanos, and takes pride in their community and culture. The development of the term Chicanx shows how language constantly evolves, dividing and uniting communities together. The term Chicanx includes a safe space for individuals who do not identify with traditional gender labels. Some might believe that it aids inclusions, and others might believe that it is simply not part of the traditional Chicano identity. Being Chicana is not only an ethnic identity, but also a social identity. To add on, it is also a person's cultural identity, which is shaped by multiple experiences throughout their life. In the reading Chicano by Arnoldo Leon, the author states that Chicano means being the in-between people, and I believe that it represents the meaning perfectly. One common statement that stood out to me from the Code Switch podcast was the discussion about the lady who wished to be white and was trying to fit into American society, which is very common. Being an in-between person feels like you do not fit in the Mexican culture or the American culture, isolated and alienated from both worlds, which can cause so much frustration and loneliness throughout a person's life. Some people felt pressured to hide parts of their culture to be accepted. For example, she also mentioned that she discussed trying to lighten her skin with jugo de limon to fit into the predominantly white school. I felt so hurt hearing this because of the type of mentality she had to have for herself to try to fit in is very overlooked in Mexican American children, and it shows the hurt that comes from feeling lost between these two cultures. This demonstrates how social pressures and discrimination can shape identity. I think that Chicano movement challenged these pressures by encouraging people to embrace their culture rather than hide it, especially through organizations like Mecha and political advocates like the Brown Berets. In one video, in the modules, Chicano identity was described as a state of mind and a culture expressed through art, music, cinema, dance, community. This is important because it suggests that Chicano or Chicana is not only about lineage or heritage. It also includes values such as respect, love for the raza and community, and knowing when to stand up for justice. This perspective helps explain why many people see Chicana identity as something that must be actively embraced instead of simply inherited. The readings also show that there is a debate about the meaning of these terms today. Some members of Mecha wanted to change the organization's name to be more inclusive of different identities and experiences, debating that people do not only identify as Chicano, but some people have Latin American background, Central American background, and learning about this actually blew my mind as a previous Mechista myself. But learning each perspective helped me understand the motives of why they wanted to change the acronym. Others worried that removing the terms such as Chicano or Aslan would erase important parts of the movement's history. I think this dispute shows that identity is always evolving and has multiple meanings for different people. While inclusion is important, many people fear losing the historical meaning and sacrifices associated with the Chicano movement may be removed if we change the name of Mecha. This discussion demonstrates that identity is not fixed but is continually shaped by each generation. According to the readings, wealthier Mexican Americans once used the term Chicano to describe people of lower social status, kind of using it as like a slur almost. During the civil rights era, students and activists reclaimed this term, turning it into a symbol of pride and power. This transformation shows that marginalized communities fight against oppression and reclaim labels once used against them and turn them into a source of power, not allowing others to define who they are. Events such as the East Los Angeles blowouts, the Chicano moratorium, and the activism of leaders demonstrate how Chicanos fight for educational opportunities, workers' rights, and social justice. To conclude, I believe being a Chicana is someone who embraces their heritage, appreciates their community, all their sacrifices, all their struggles that also shape the Chicano movement, while advocating and aiding future generations. A Chicana is many things: an activist, a machista, a daughter, a student, a person of color. The videos and the readings taught me that being a Chicana is not simply belonging to an ethnicity, but also constantly trying to fit into the Mexican or the American culture. But at the end of the day, I believe that being a Chicana is about embracing identity, culture, history, and committing to resilience and taking pride, and finally uplifting the raza always.